What's up, everybody? We are back in the Madden 21, continuing in the kind of part 2 of our futuristic rebuild with the Chicago Bears, and we are entering year 3. Got a new controller, so that way I don't have to use a mouse and keyboard. Let's just take a quick look at our draft recap again. Obviously, we drafted the center who we did not want to draft. Just because that's what happened when my controller blew up. We got a quarterback who is going to be kind of a backup for us. We're going to see how good, Deshaun can do. I think that's what his first name is, Deshaun. I forget his last name. Tyler Slate, he's a tight end that I was really excited about. Yeah, it's overall not a bad draft. Not a bad draft. Taking a look at the actual lineup here. I don't want to go through there. Let's go through this, because that is a lot better. Alright, so quarterback, Deshaun Gilly. He is now up to a star dev trade. He's in his 3rd season. We're just going to ride him for another season, see what he can possibly do for us. He has grown quite a bit. I think when we started, he was a 66. Now he's a 72. And look at that contract. It is a cheap contract. But yeah, Parker Hall, sorry to say, but you are going to be released. Here at running back, we have Taylor Willie. Then we have Josh Gore. And then we have this guy. This is a solid running back room, obviously superstar, then we have a really good solid guy backing him up, and this is where we kind of need to make a big time decision. So we're going to save $1.5 million by releasing Jamie Wilkins, which is something that I'm going to do. We did draft a 71 overall fullback, Max Weaver, in the 7th round of our final draft, so we're obviously going to go with him. In our wide receiver room, it is actually looking really solid. Our 1st round pick from last year, Cameron Perkins, he's up to a 76. I think he was only a 73, but when you're playing wide receiver 3, that's all you can really expect. And he's got to beat out Kevin Villa, who is clearly our number 1 guy, and then David Alford. But we might look to make potentially some moves here, to potentially bring him up, because he was a freak of nature, if I remember. He's 6'4", 230, he ran like a 4.3, he has 92 speed, he's just solid around the board. So we might try to get him a little bit more work. We brought in Cole Kmet, Junior Baylord, and then we drafted Tyler Steele, who I was hoping would be a lot better than he is. But, this is our tight end room. Obviously, again, when it comes to the offensive line, everyone just seems to be a complete and utter rental. With the exception of Timmy LeBlanc, who was on the team before we got here, and he's been okay. We picked up his 5th-year option. Cheeks is here. That's one of our guys we drafted. But yeah, Austin Gore, obviously only being a 72. I think he does have a star, so he's probably going to play backup to Rylan Pitts. I don't know how long we have this guy for. I'm assuming it's probably 1 year. We'll see where we go. Defense side of the ball, a lot of rentals. Again, this guy, hopefully, I'm pretty sure he has a star dev trade as well, or a hidden dev trade. But yeah, this guy could potentially be really solid for us in the future. Again, just another rental from the D-tackle spot. Outside linebackers, again, not the best, not the worst. Oh yeah, this was one of our top picks from last year. Was he a top pick? I don't remember. Let's check. What round did we draft this guy in? He was a 2nd round pick. So yeah, he was a high up pick. Goes to corner. Again, we need to, add an extra corner here. One thing I will do is I will take this guy and toss him to the outside backer. To just the right side, just to even everything out. Left side, I'm pretty sure. let's see, he was a 73, and we brought him up to a 74, so not terrible. That we're just evening out our linebacking core. We brought in Minkah Fitzpatrick, because obviously I would prefer to have a really good set of safeties beside each other. Again, we have a lot of rentals on our team. But yeah, so what we are going to do is once we get to free agents, or once we get to week 3, I'll show you some of the guys that we need to bring in. Alrighty, we are back and checking in on kind of our players that we need to re-sign. Kevin Villa, he is a guy that I'm definitely interested in instantly trying to re-sign. He's been just nothing but solid for us. We pay our wide receivers, and plus we have $122 million in cap space. So of course, give him a $10 million year contract. So we're not even paying him that much for a top end wide receiver, which he's kind of been playing for us. This offer is perfect. He can't wait. Looking over at the list, we might need to bring back Andrew Thomas, but he has kind of dropped a little bit for us. Yeah, Adam Ramsey, Tyreek Sharp. There's a lot of kind of just rental players that we have. A lot of these guys kind of have to make firm decisions on. But yeah, what we will do is I will see you at the end of the season just to kind of go over all the stats, or unless we have something big that needs to be brought up. Alrighty, we are back at the end of the season, and we are in the playoffs in year 3. The team went 11-5. Really, really good. We are actually the second best team in the NFL, which is really, really good to see. I will say early on, I was a little bit worried, but, the team pulled out really, really well at the end of the year. Let's take a look at the stats. So, Deshaun Gilly threw for 4,338 passing yards, 34 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. The big thing that I like to see here is that his interceptions have dropped. Because in his first year, he was like 18. His second year, he was 19. They have now dropped, which is really, really good to see. Taylor Willie, again, yet to breaking that 1,000-yard rushing mark. He actually went down. He's usually in the 900s. Which I don't really like to see because we did just kind of give him some money, but Josh Gore did give us a lot of rushing attempts. Even Deshaun Gilly, put up some okay numbers. Receiving, Kyler Willa, 1,500 yards, 16 touchdowns. Man is an absolute monster. We unfortunately don't have the 2 back-to-back years of having a 1,000-yard receiver. David Alford was a really solid number 2 wide receiver, but again, Taylor Willie basically putting up 400 or 500 yards in the passing game, so that kind of balances it out a little bit. I would like to see that 1,000-yard runner. Cole Kmet put up 720 yards. Cameron Perkins just didn't really do a whole lot for us. He is up to a 77, so but we know who our bread and butter is. It is Kyler Willa. A 92 overall. Let's take a look at the blocking here. Andrew Thomas and Timmy LeBlanc gave up the most sacks, but our interior stayed pretty solid nonetheless. Looking over here, Ben Smith, 131 tackles. Even Don Bryant, 100 tackles. So our linebackers are putting in work. Looking at the QB sacks, Tyreek Sharp, he put out 8. Javon Kinlaw, he put out 6.5, and Lewis Bryant staying consistent with his around 5 to 6 to 7 in that type of area. We're getting sacks. Greg Sabb, even a guy who isn't meant to rush the passer, he's getting there. I'm looking for one of the rookies that we had. Yeah, Mackey. This was a guy who should have had a dev trait. He is a star, so he's a 75. So first year, only getting 1 sack. Not really what I'd like to see. Marcus Ayers for Deshaun Johnson, 3. Okay, so we're getting interceptions. Kicking, again, kicking game, I'm not terribly worried about. But 9th offense, what did we get for defense? 27th defense. So it was really our defense who let the team down. All right, we are officially in the game here. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I did not mean to do that. Skip. We get ourselves a touchdown. We are going to go kind of normal. Alright, so it looks like someone misses a field goal there. So we are weak on the defensive side of the ball, which is unfortunate, which the Detroit Lions going. They've already won a playoff game so far this year, which is actually kind of hilarious at 9-7. But our team is young and, talented. Unfortunately, they get a touchdown. I'm really interested to see how our defense or how our offense responds. And we go. My bad, I'm just spamming. Let's do fast. Let's see how this game plays out. There we go. Our offense gets the ball back. Make a big stop, I'm pretty sure. Detroit Lions go up late in the 4th. Oh, our offense needs to come up big here. They do not. Unfortunately, we do not make it past the divisional round. A quarterback, Deshaun Gilly, he looks like he put up, a decent game. He did throw 2 interceptions, which isn't great, but he was having to pass the ball a lot. We didn't have a run game. It was basically like us fighting for our lives at the end of the game there. Our defense is what kind of let us down in that game. Alrighty, here we are with the Pro Bowl lineup. And Deshaun Gilly, he is the second quarterback for the NFC roster. That is great to see. Taylor Willie is running back number 3. So even that's really, really solid to see. Obviously, Kyler Villa, that's 3 Pro Bowlers at the moment. He's just solid all around the board. Andrew Thomas making the Pro Bowl after giving up how many sacks? That is just insane to me that he made the Pro Bowl. So we do indeed have 4 Pro Bowlers on the roster thus far. To my surprise, Andrew Thomas 2 years in a row. The year before, not bad. Nick Bosa, the guy that we could have potentially went for, but we didn't because we wanted to try to save some money for a year. Ends up being a Pro Bowler. What can you say? Missed opportunity really there. Linebackers, nothing. Corners, Sean Johnson, I think he's one of ours, so that's 5. Micah Fitzpatrick from a safety spot, so we brought him in. That's 6 Pro Bowlers. So this year, having 6 Pro Bowlers, unfortunately, we get bounced in the second round of the playoffs to the Detroit Lions. They are in the Super Bowl, which is crazy. Let's check out the yearly awards. So it looks like we have Deshaun Gilly. He's 8 on the list. He is 5th on Offensive Player of the Year award. Defensive Player of the Year, we don't have anyone up there. Not terribly unexpected. Offensive Rookies, we have no one. Defensive Rookies, Mackey, he is 5th. Best QB, we have number 4. Best running back, number 8. We have the best wide receiver. I don't think anyone can deny that. No one else up there. O-lineman, Ryland Pitts, and James Daniels, and Henry Cheeks. I wonder if there's another Thomas somewhere in the game. But yeah, it doesn't even look like there's Thomas on this list, so it must just be tackles doing really bad. Nick Bosa wins best D lineman. Oh, that's a guy that we could have potentially gone after. Best linebacker, we don't have anyone. Best DB, Marty's Ayers and Deshaun Johnson. Best kickers, Morgan Kyle. We have the 3rd. Okay. Alright, so we are going to meet back up at the end of the free agency. Alrighty, we are back, and this is time for us to take a look at our free agency signings that we made. So, we went out and signed Jared Green, who is a superstar X Factor. Yes, he's only 84, but he does still have that superstar X Factor. He's going to help our D-line out crazy. Jarek Wills Jr., again, we're just basically finding these 1-year rentals until we can either draft a guy or we can find a young guy that signed for a long-term deal. But yeah, it's just 1-year rentals. Cesar Reyes, we're going to actually move him over to left guard or vice versa with Cheeks. One of those guys is going to move over. I just need to find one. There was no real kind of better guy at right guard or at left guard. I think the highest was like a 76, which to me just wasn't worth picking up. We brought back Torrey Wright. We signed Steve Brooks. Again, for me, the defense, seeing what we were in the playoffs last year, I know we definitely needed to get better. Jeff Okuda, superstar, bringing him in there. Yes, he's old. He's a 1-year rental. A lot of these guys are basically 1-year rentals just to kind of help the team along. We have a good, solid foundation of young guys, but we also have a nice, solid foundation of vets. And, we're just kind of trying to replace some of the people that we lost. Alphonso Davis, he's just one of the better D tackles that I saw. Morgan Kyle is back. I brought in Grant Delpit. Unfortunately, Minka Fitzpatrick retired. Greg Everett. The one signing that I did try to make, because I learned my lesson from last season, was I tried to go after Chase Young. He unfortunately signed with the Falcons. I was going to try to pair, Jared Green with Chase Young, have both of those guys on the edge, 2 superstar X Factors, and just have an absolute amazing time with that. But what we are going to do is we are going to enter the draft. You guys are going to see where we are drafting and what we are going to make for a pick. So, unfortunately, we made it pretty far in the playoffs. We were a good team. We do have the 28th overall pick. So let's take a look at kind of that particular area. Unfortunately, there doesn't look like there's anything super amazing. Let's take a look at this guy. He's a late first rounder. They say he's an early second rounder. So honestly, he's kind of where he's supposed to be. I gotta say, I do like the 3-cone, the 20-yard shuffle and the bench press. This guy is strong. This guy might actually be a really solid pickup for us. Unfortunately, we got to ignore all of these guys. Let's go right past them. Again, I was really, really, really hoping to find some just absolutely solid defensive linemen, or offensive linemen, but I just can't find any. It just doesn't seem like there's bringing any up the last couple of years. I do like the look of this guy. You know, he's late first round talent. We do need kind of a free safety of the future. Obviously, you know, with us bringing in Brent Delpit, we need someone to kind of take over those reins. Late first rounder. You know, I'm probably going to go with this guy just because he looks really, really talented. But yeah. So let's skip to our picks.
The Bears are now on the clock.
I just saw a free safety get drafted and that terrified me a little. Did he get selected? Draft board? He did not. Alright, so for us in the first round, we are going to go with Chedrick Reese. You know, just looking at his combine reports, you know, he's top 5 in everything except for the 3-cone, and then even the 3-cone, he's the 6th best free safety. You know, he has 3-1s his vertical jump. He runs pretty quick. I like the look of this guy. He's a 72 normal. You know, again, I would love it if he was a, for instance, you know, like he had a hidden dev trait. But yeah, you will see me at the end of the draft. Alrighty, we are at the end of the draft. Let us take a look at our draft recap. Obviously, Chedrick Reese, you know, he looked really, really solid. 72 overall. You know, then the second round, Corin Killings, you know, 69, you know, left end. Not the best pick for us, but Gil Free, really, really good right guard. He has that hidden. So, you know, over the last 2 years, we have found some hidden dev traits for offensive linemen. Now it's just trying to bring them up. Unfortunately, you know, we're entering year 4, so we only have basically one more draft after this. And if these guys don't instantly try to, you know, produce, then it's just not going to work. You know, we needed to find those guys year 1. You know, Sean Rice. You know, this was just another guy that looked solid. Yeah, not my best pick here, but we found a hidden dev trait punter, which is actually kind of hilarious. But yeah, alright, so we are going to head into year number 4. Let's see if we can make the playoffs again. Let's see if we can actually make it past the first round. We have spent a lot of money. We are really pushing for this year and next year. Alright, we are back for week 3, and we have some re-signing we need to accomplish. So it does look like it's going to be a bit of a heavy kind of year. There's a ton of guys that I would like to keep on this team. Obviously, Deshaun Johnson, he's young, he's solid. We are going to try to keep him around long term. Nice offer, just need to improve the bonus a little bit. See, I'm okay with potentially letting Alfred walk just because we have kind of 2 younger guys that are getting, you know, who are growing a little bit. And this might be the opportunity for Perkins to finally take that next step. Because maybe it's just that he hasn't had the opportunity to actually have that number 2 wide receiver role. We will see. But, yeah, we are going to try to re-sign some people, and we will see you at the end of the year. Alrighty, we are back, and we are in the playoffs yet again. We go 11-5, the top of the division once again, and we, of course, are facing the Detroit Lions. Let's see if we can take them on this year and actually beat them. But we are going to take a look at the stats. Deshaun Gillies threw for 35 passing touchdowns, 8 interceptions. He was sacked 53 times. That isn't good. He passed for 4,303 yards. Calvin Slade caught in there and threw a touchdown. Okay. So for running, Taylor Willie again does not break that 1,000-yard mark, but what he does do is he gets closer and closer, so that's great. Josh Gore, he is a perfect backup. He's just pounding in those touchdowns, which is great to see from our power back. But yeah, so far I'm pretty happy with that. Looking at the receivers, we have Kevin Willa. He goes over 1,000 yards again. Not as high as we would have expected, but I did decide to take Tyler Steele, that good tight end that I really, really liked, and I gave him the starting role this season. I said, "Hey, kid, take the keys to the castle. It is your opportunity." And he ran with it. David Alford, he did fairly well. Cameron Perkins, actually more of a down year this year. He had actually less receiving yards, which is unfortunate. Taylor Willie, again, he didn't quite break that 400-yard mark, but again, he's still a huge threat on the offensive side of the ball when it comes to receiving. But yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy. We have 2,000-yard receivers. We have a guy who's fairly close. I just don't see why we can't bring him back. He's just solid. Looking at, Jarek Willis gave up 22 sacks. Cesar Ramirez, Renes, I'm not sure how to say his last name. He didn't do great on the inside. We kind of expect Timmy LeBlanc to give up around 10, so that's not surprising. Rylan Pitts, he did fairly well from the center spot. But yeah, Ben Smith, our middle linebacker, 121 tackles. Led the team in tackles for loss. Jared Green, one of the guys that we picked up, with 10. Led the team in sacks. 7, Torrey Wright, we brought him back. And, he's shown why we should have brought him back again. We don't have that elite pass rusher at the moment. Jared Green, the guy that we brought in to kind of help out. 6.5, he is older. Steve Brock's another guy that we brought in. Lewis Bryant kind of did what he does. Let's check out interceptions. Deshaun Johnson, again, making a lot of interceptions. Jeff Okuda getting in some. It's great to see. We do have a lot of guys that we need to bring back. Offense was 6th in the league, so we improved this year, which is great. And defense, we were 14th. That is big. That is what I'd like to see. So we even improved. We were the 4th most points allowed. We were 15th in points given up. So that's great to see. Good. So now we are going to jump in. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm just actually going to go week by week and see if we can. If we get into the Super Bowl, then we'll kind of go back. But yeah, let's see if we can beat the Detroit Lions this year in what is essentially a huge rematch game. And we beat the Detroit Lions, which is huge. Deshaun Gilly, he threw for 3 touchdowns. He threw an interception, sacked 3 times. Oh, you hate to see it. Alright, so now we are versing the talented Arizona Cardinals. Let's see if we can make it past the divisional round this year. We indeed beat the Arizona Cardinals. We actually kind of destroyed the Cardinals. If you look at that, it's 31-10. It wasn't even a competition. That is what you'd like to see. Now we are going up against what is probably the best team in the NFC, the Atlanta Falcons, being 14-2. They are actually the top team in the NFL. This is going to be an incredibly tough game for us to win, but I think this is kind of our Cinderella year. Hopefully we can just get past them and go to the Super Bowl. We beat the Atlanta Falcons, and now we are headed to the Super Bowl against the New York Jets. Let's take a look at the weekly. So Ben Smith, 9 tackles, 1 sack. Meredith, their quarterback, 2 passing touchdowns, was sacked 3 times, but did have 1 rushing touchdown. But looking at the Jets, Jordan Love is their quarterback. Okay. So we are going up against a talented Jets team. Let's see the Pro Bowl rosters. Obviously, none of our guys are going to be on there just because we are headed to the Super Bowl, which is lovely to see. But we probably would have had around 4-5 guys in that Pro Bowl roster. Let's see who we have for some upgrades. I also gave, our first round safety kind of the keys to his castle. The keys to the Camaro, letting him play beside Johnson. We brought in Delpet, but we managed to get Reese. And you know what? He's currently the same rating now as Delpet, so you can't really complain about that too terribly much. But yeah, I think the addition of Green definitely helped our team. Bryant is up to a 90 overall, so he has just been an absolute monster for us. Our two middle linebackers, they are both up to 80s. This team has just been really, really solid all around. Even Deshaun Gillies, we're going to need to re-sign him. Oh my god, Villa, he's up to a 96 overall. Yes, that is for the plus, but Perkins, he's up to an 81. Alfred, he's up to an 85. Okay. Oh, Steele, he's up to an 82 now. And I think he was a 75 at the beginning of the year. So, he has produced fairly well. All right. So we are headed to the Super Bowl for the first time in this series. Let's check out the yearly awards. Meredith for the Falcons. So we just took out the MVP, and we have our quarterback Deshaun Gillies. He is up there at number 4, so he was in the conversation for the MVP award, which was good to see. Looking at the NFC for Offensive Player of the Year, Deshaun Gilly, he was 3rd. Again, let's see if we had anybody else. No one else. Defensive Player of the Year, Ben Smith came in at 3rd. Do we have any others? Offensive Rookie, we have no one up there. Defensive Rookie, Chedrick Reese, our safety. That is going to be huge for his development. He's probably going to be now up to a start. That is absolutely great to see. We made the right pick, and I made the right decision to start him. Best quarterback, we're there. Running back, Taylor Willie, 6. Do we have anybody for wide receiver? Kevin Villa. Yep. He's the top wide receiver. Offensive line, we have Rylan Pitts, Cheeks, and LeBlanc giving up 10 sacks somehow makes the list. The Falcons just had 1, 2, 3, 4. They had all 5 of their offensive linemen on this list. Best D lineman, we had no one. Best linebacker, Ben Smith. It's weird to think that for Defensive Player of the Year, he was 3rd. But when it comes to Best Linebacker, he was 4th. Interesting. Best corners, Deshaun Johnson, not Jackson. Kickers, Morgan Kyle, we brought him back for a reason. He's our kicker. All right, let us get into the Super Bowl. Again, we are going to do... Actually, you know what? I'm not going to do play the moments. It's just going to be a click and see if we can take that victory. And we lose in what is a absolute barn burner, 22-21. Oh, that is so unfortunate to see. Deshaun Gillies, 3 passing touchdowns, was sacked once. Jordan Love, he had 1 less yard than Jordan Love. He did throw that interception, which hurts the team. You hate to see it, but we came so close. Alrighty, we are back for our final offseason, and I will say this offseason was kind of tough just because this was the year where we are now experiencing cap issues. When you go to that Super Bowl, most of the teams that enter the Super Bowl are already kind of cap hell, and that's kind of where we were. Unfortunately, we were only able to bring back Ayers and Gore. We weren't able to re-sign players that we wanted to. So Unfortunately, we just lost some key pieces. I'm going to show you the team of where it's at. But yeah, Deshaun Gilly. We needed to re-sign him, and obviously we needed to give him a big time deal. He's our quarterback. This is a guy that has actually been phenomenal for us in this game, this series. Gore and Willie. We unfortunately lost Alfred, but Perks, he's now getting up there. He's going into his third year. He's young. Put him beside Villa, who knows what he's going to do. Wilburn, another guy that we drafted. He looks like he's, ready to step into that wide receiver 3 role. We have guys. So that is the important thing, is we do indeed have guys. I'm going to cut a lot of these wide receivers just because, again, I don't know why the practice squad signs everything wide receiver wise. But here is our tight end room. I probably could cut Komet, but he's just good to have her. We need to field a team. But yeah, Tyler Steele, he's looking solid. Unfortunately, we don't look like we have an offensive tackle. That's not great. Again, Gilly Free, the guy that we drafted last year. I forget what round he was in, but he is a superstar. So that is absolutely huge. So we are going to bump him over to the, gotta remember what side, to the left side. He was actually a 3rd round pick for us, and he is a superstar offensive lineman. But I'm going to move him over to the left side. I'm actually going to do that right now, just so we have someone there. But we are going to potentially need to look at drafting just a tackle in the 1st round and hoping that we get someone. Hopefully it doesn't drop him down. Okay, it doesn't. Center, we kind of have to go with Austin Gore at this point. So our offensive line is severely lacking right now. Timmy LeBlanc, he's up to an 84, so that's really nice to see. Jordan Green. It's a shame to see what we had when we started this, what was like $178 million in cap, to where we are now, where we're just in cap hell. That's why we have a cap space in the NFL, is to keep these teams honest. So we still have our main core here. We were able to keep all of these guys around. Unfortunately, we did lose, I can't remember his name at the moment. Yeah, Chedrick Reese. I'm pretty sure he got a dev trait. He didn't get a dev trait boost, which is crazy. Russ Johnson, he's up to an 84. But this is our last year, so hopefully when it comes to the draft, we can actually make something happen. Let's see who has the first pick. We have the 31st pick in the draft. I will say I just let the game do the scouting for me. Let's just take a look at left tackle. Oh, great. So they didn't scout really the offensive line. He didn't scout. Okay, game. Love it when you do me like that. But we just need to hope that we can just find someone. Alright, so we have the 31st pick, I believe. Yep, so where does that kind of put us in terms of player? So it gives us a corner. I do like the look of this guy, Brandon Sharp. I really, really like the look of this guy. 6'2", 329, if he's decently overrated overall, let's see if we can get him. If not, not the end of the world, but we will see where we fall in the draft. Hopefully we can get someone good. Of course, it just seems like in this series, the guy that we want always goes the pick right before us. And the Falcons don't even need offensive line help. They had all 5 of their guys. And he was a 73 overall. You hate seeing that stuff. Unfortunately, he does have a mid first round. This guy has an early first round. So this guy, Montreal Jackson, Jackson, he is going to be really, really good player. But we unfortunately don't need a running back at the moment to be our star. Like, we don't need to draft a running back in the first round, which is unfortunate because Buddy would be really, really well. He's going to be a really good player. Fortunately, just kind of looking here. Late first round talent corner. Again, we kind of have our corner situation kind of figured out at the moment. We do need to kind of figure out more of our offensive, problem. This is an unfortunate type situation for us. I'm not gonna take any of these guys just because, again, we don't need a running back at the moment. Wide receiver, we don't need wide receiver help. We don't really need defensive help, really. Like, our defense is actually kind of not bad. Mid second, so he's not going to help us out at the moment. This guy's late first round. This is a tough pick because I want to go more offensive line or more offensive here, but I just don't really know where I can go. You know what I'm going to try and do? I'm going to try to get Sharp from the Falcons. I know they just drafted him, and this might be kind of cheesy, but I'm willing to give up big for this guy. That was a guy that I really liked the look of. I'm not going to try to go for Meredith, but yeah, go to. What was it? Alright, so we cannot trade for him at the moment. Let's just see. Like, all these, there's just so much that I'm not interested in. And what year are we in? We're in 2034. So I'm going to try to look at picks that I can actually use, because the 2035, frankly, just don't really help us. So we can get a third, a fourth, and a fourth for next year. That would probably be a really solid offer. But we can get a second and a fourth for this year, a second and a third for this year. That's actually not a bad deal. So I'm going to take the second and the third from Miami. Alrighty, we are back after the draft, and here we go. Let's just take a look at the recap. I would say this is actually probably one of my better drafts, just because we had so many guys in the 70s. Caleb Robinson, second round pick. He looked really, really solid. 74 normal. And then we got this guy, Zach Tung, who is a right guard, who is a 71 hidden, which is really, really nice to see. I also got this guy, Brian Manuel, 71 overall center. Normal, this kind of more of a backup role. Isaiah Scott, corner, 72. Cameron Taylor, bowler, another center. We're just going to be moving some of these guys around, and then another left guard. Nothing really special. We did get one. Oh, don't know why that happened. But one thing I am going to try to do is see what happens when I move this guy over to left tackle, because honestly, he's probably the best option we have at the moment. So left tackle, he drops to a 70 overall, but we will take that little bit of a drop just to have a solid guy out there. We're not going to have the best offensive line that we have ever had, which is unfortunate. But yeah, I will see you honestly mid-season just to kind of show you where you are, what can we expect from this season. But yeah, all right. Alrighty, we are back and it is mid-season and you can see it right here. We are 1-6. This is not exactly where we want to be. Obviously, something is going wrong. I don't know if it's just the offensive not clicking. Our quarterback can't do anything, or if it's our defense just letting everything kind of go down. But actually, let's take a look at the mid-year type stats. Deshaun Gillies, he's almost at 2,000 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He's been sacked 16 times in 7 games. Rushing, Taylor Willie doesn't seem to be having that great of a year so far. Villa doing great. Cameron Perkins, yep. Steele, blocking. Okay, I'm actually surprised with how little we're giving up sacks there. Defensive side of the ball. Lewis Bryan with 4 already, so he might be looking for a kind of a monster type year. We've got a couple of interceptions here, but nothing major. I don't really know what to say. Maybe this team might pick it up, going into the end of the year. Let's just check to see who free agency is. Lewis Bryant. Yeah, this would also be another expensive year, but for us, it looks like we'll probably AKA fired, but we're going to say we're retiring at the end of the year. Let's just sim to the playoffs and see what happens. All right, we are here at the playoffs, and it does not look like we made it. Unfortunately, we went 6-10. Oh, you hate to see it. Deshaun Gillies, again, putting up a good year. 32 touchdowns, 13 interceptions, unfortunately. Was sacked actually a lot less than what he was last year. He was at 58, which was the second most I think we ever had. He's at 32, so that's a little bit more, good. Taylor Willie really had a step down year in terms of rushing. Kevin Villa, all I can say is the dude is a monster. Cameron Perkins isn't really the guy. Even Wilbur had honestly a better season than him. That's just really unfortunate to see. Taylor Willie, he did have 500 and almost 550 receiving yards, so you can kind of say it balances out. You would like to see him at least crack the 8,500 yard mark. Check the sack totals at the end. For being a rookie, giving up 8 sacks in a position. Honestly, he played right guard for where we drafted him, and only giving up 8. That's really good. Timmy LeBlanc giving up 3 sacks, so he actually had himself a good year. Even Austin Gore, tackles for loss. Let's see, Torrey Wright, 8.5. Actually, who got 7? Lewis Bryant, 2. You always hate to see a linebacker kind of lead the team in sacks. Kicking, yeah, sure, whatever. Actually, let's go back because it's going to tell us. We were the 4th offense, so our offense was doing stuff. It was our defense that clearly let us down, and the defense was 13th in the NFL. How did we win 6 games? How did we only win 6 games? Oh, points allowed. We were 32nd in the NFL. Oh. Alright, let's just see if we have any Pro Bowlers, who wins the MVP award. Hopefully we can finish on some sort of high note for this series. All right, our quarterback does not make it. No, none of our running backs. I don't know if one of these guys is our fullbacks. Villa, obviously, he's a consistent Pro Bowler. He's a 97 overall. Dude is a monster. Let's see, anybody else? No tight ends. LeBlanc makes it. That's good to see. So we have two Pro Bowlers thus far. And it looks like that is about it. We have 2 Pro Bowlers. Let's see if we get any sort of anything. I don't expect an MVP award. No. Deshaun Gilly, he's played really, really well for us over this entire series. I'll give him that. He's been our most, he's just been good. Starting off from a 66 to be where he is right now. We have no offensive rookies, defensive rookies. No, we don't have anyone. But yeah, to be an 84 overall from starting at 66, that is absolutely huge. I don't even know if we checked where he was drafted, because he was just on the team when we took this series over. So, we're going to take a look at him, see, where some of our top guys, how they ended with this. So stats. So the stats, let's take a look at that for him. So his rookie year, the year that we took over, he threw for 3,702 yards, 28 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. So not quite like what we wanted to see. Next year he took that step up, and then from every year on, he's just been really, really, really consistent. It's great to see. Where was he drafted? He was drafted in the 5th round, so we got a 5th round quarterback and turned him into a stud. This guy, is probably going to be a quarterback for the future for this team continuing on. He's 2 Pro Bowlers, obviously Offensive Rookie of the Year. So he has been an absolute monster in this series for us, which is absolutely great to see. Star Taylor Willie, let's take a look at his stats and career. Let's see where he was drafted first overall. He was drafted in the 2nd round with the 1st pick, and he was an offensive rookie, so, totally get what. But so in his rookie year, didn't have a great year, and then I think this was the year we took over. He's just been a consistent guy for us, except for this final year. Obviously, he had some great receiving stats as well. But yeah, as soon as we took over and gave him a good offensive line, he just kind of blew up with that. But yeah, he is absolutely solid for us. Yeah, that was a guy I didn't even draft, which is kind of hilarious to see. And then Kevin Willa, obviously superstar X Factor. He's probably looked at as the best wide receiver in the game. Every single year he's been in the NFL, he has gotten over 1,000 yards. Where was he drafted? He was drafted in the 2nd round. Wow, so he has made something out of himself. He said, I feel I got disrespected by being drafted in the 2nd round. Here I go off. Dude is just incredible. 4 Pro Bowl appearances. He's been voted the best wide receiver twice. This guy is on for a Hall of Fame type career. Bears finally have kind of this Hall of Fame wide receiver on their roster. I think, just looking at this for total, he is without a doubt holds the record for most receiving yards from any Bears player ever, which is awesome to see. Unfortunately, our first pick, Cameron Perkins, I think I have to say he's kind of a bust for us, unfortunately. You hate seeing that kind of stuff. But one of the guys that we did draft, Tyler Steele, 82 overall, kind of in his second year. He's going to be a good tight end. He's going to be a really good tight end for this team. Timmy LeBlanc, he's another good guy that he's just been constantly kept around. Even when we've just been buying offensive linemen every single year, like Gillies hasn't had a consistent offensive lineman his entire career. The only offensive lineman that he's had from year to year to year is LeBlanc and Cheeks. These two guys have been here basically since the start. We did bring Cheeks in as a free agent. Looking over at the defensive side of the ball, Russ Johnson, he was another guy that was just on the team when we got here, so this was actually a good pick from the CPU. He's had okay stats. He's a tackle machine. Good player. Then we also got to look at the corners. Deshaun Johnson and Ayers, Beasley. Bryant was an absolute monster. Sapp we drafted, and he turned out to be an 84, which is nice. Reese, another guy that we drafted, he looked really, really good. But yeah, unfortunately, at the end of the year, let's see who wins the Super Bowl between the rematch between the Falcons and the Patriots. Years and years later, the Falcons in Super Bowl 69 get their revenge. But that is where we are going to end this episode. Not even an episode, we're just going to end the video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.